The fluorescent lights of the Riverside grocery store hummed, flickering in a rhythmic, quiet and slow for the evening staff. Irritating young woman walked down the cereal aisle, pissed off with the message she just read, her eyes locked onto her glowing phone screen. She reached the end of the aisle and stopped. A few feet away, a child stood motionless. The skin on his face held a gray, sickly pallor. She was hesitant. "Hey, dude." The child did not answer. He did not breathe. Then, his head snapped toward her with a sickening crack of bone. She removed one earbud. "Hey, kid. You doing okay? Do you need help or something?" A low, guttural growl vibrated in his throat. "What the fuck?" He turned slightly, revealing a gruesome face, standing in the shadow with unnatural twitches. His eyes stalked her body, his chest heaving aggressively, her pulse racing. The child stared at her with a hunger that was almost desire. The stench of his breath hit the air like a physical thing. Her stomach twisted. She backed away slowly, then spun and ran. They both turned the corner. The kid trailed. Both collided into a nearby stand of stacked cereal as the clerk sat restocking, with enough force to send all three crashing to the ground. Both arise frantically from the floor. The clerk looked behind the girl, confusion on his face as he watched the child. There was nothing there, no soul, no life, just hunger and empty eyes, the piercing sound that abruptly cut to silence. The store fell into an impossible, heavy stillness. The child lunged at the clerk quickly, with snapping teeth. The clerk reacted, grabbing his slippery arms, soaked in blood from his last victim. The clerk manhandles the kid, avoiding bites. He's had enough, slamming his head down face first. A spray of blood painted the conveyor belt. The kid bounced off, fallen back to the ground, jumping up quick. The effect was minimal. The kid turned, grabbing another victim, bending his body over the conveyor belt before biting into his neck. The girls backtracked into the cereal line, catching a glimpse of the outside window, viewing the chaos unfolding outside the grocery store. Crouching down, taking cover before shouting for everyone to stay calm, voices rising in disparity, cries of agony of useless waves. The victim raised from the ground, screaming at the top of his lungs, glowing a flat, milky white. He surged upward, ignoring the deep wound in his neck. The automatic glass doors at the front of the store exploded inward. An infected woman stumbled through the shards, her face a mangled ruin of skin and bone. The clerk stopped, his jaw dropping as he stared at the encroaching wall of gray, twitching bodies. Panic turned into a stampede. Feet pounded against the linoleum. People shoved past one another, desperate to exit the sliding glass doors. The store was no longer a place of commerce, but a trap closing in from every side. The city had transformed into a wreckage of blaring horns and screeching metal. She watched through the windows. The car swerved violently, tires smoking as it slammed into a parked sedan. She shoved through the frantic crowd, bursting out into an empty aisle, hands shaking, frantically checking her phone for a signal. The manager runs towards the boy, speaking to him in a calming manner, pleading with the child to stop. What is going on in here? Hey, kid, isn't it a little early for Halloween? Get out now, the manager firmly pointing at the door. Realizing the child injuries were real and the blood isn't fake, panic is written all over his face. He runs around a fruit bin while the child trailed. The child leaps over the bin to tackling the manager, knocking him to the floor, quickly jumping on top of the manager, his heart hammering against his ribs as the child started biting into his chest. Another zombie dressed in a pink jumpsuit ran over, joining in on the feast alongside the child. The girl held tightly with a crushing grip onto the edge of the aisle, stiff with a petrified look on her face. She crouches down, staying hidden, wiping tears away, checking her phone for a signal or anything. The radio was dead. She crouched behind a display case, watching the infected through the gap. They hadn't moved yet, still focused on the sound from the back. This was her window. She'd have seconds. The infected clustered near the entrance, motionless, waiting. A single sound was all it would take. They'd strike instantly, converging on whatever made it. Then something crashed in the back. She ran. Glass crunched under her feet, too loud. Behind her, the infected roared. She didn't look back. The street opened up ahead. Her footsteps echoed off the pavement as she sprinted further away. The city was a graveyard of wrecked cars and abandoned streets. She moved cautiously, staying low. 20 yards ahead, another girl crouched behind the vehicles, watching her just as carefully. She froze in the middle of the street. 3 of them had a man on the ground. Blood. Screaming. She couldn't watch anymore. She ran. The girl ran for the bus. The driver was already pulling away. She was falling behind. He caught movement in his rearview mirror. Just a kid. Not infected. He hit the brakes. She grabbed the handle and hauled herself up. "Thank you." The words barely left her mouth before something seized her ankle, a hand, a grip, pulling her back down. She kicked desperately. Her foot caught on the curb and she went down hard. For a moment, just a moment, she thought it was over. Then she scrambled up and ran for the bus doors. The child lunged at her. She kicked. He caught her leg. He wrenched her head down, teeth snapping inches from her skull. It all happened in seconds. She shoved the child off her, breaking free from the tussle. She stumbled backward through the bus doors. Adrenaline flooded her veins. "Close the door! Close it!" A sound tore through the stillness, a ragged, discordant chorus of human screams. It started low, a singular cry of alarm, a sigh of relief comes over her. Resting momentarily on the floor, she recoiled, her back hitting the seat hard. Through the window, the child slammed both hands and face against the glass, leaving smears of blood. Her breath came in gasps. The bus pulled away, weaving through the carnage. She couldn't look away. Bodies in the streets. The infected swarming through abandoned cars. Windows on both sides, nowhere to hide from it. The power grid failed. Darkness rolled across the city. She convulsed on the ground. Her eyes snapped open. She rose and saw the driver. He didn't see her coming. She grabbed him from behind and tore into his neck. He swerved, crashing into a vehicle near the park. Her body plowed through the windshield. The wave of infected reached the lawn, a surging tide of motion that flattened the grass. The park hummed with laughter and chatter. Moms sipped their lattes while dads threw frisbees. The wave came so fast, catching pedestrians off guard. The dog froze as the dead flooded the park. It watched the frisbee float down and land in the grass. Then it saw them the wave and bolted. The dead poured into the crowded park, having torn through the city in hours. They moved with purpose hunting. The visitors never saw them coming. The child in the soccer uniform chased them down with relentless efficiency. Small, fast, wearing the uniform of a real kid, innocent looking. No one could bring themselves to hurt him. The child spotted an elderly couple by a bench. They froze. The husband stepped forward, shielding his wife. The child attacked with relentless fury. 2 of them tackled the mother. She'd thrown herself between them and her child. The father grabbed his daughter and ran, but more came, dozens swarming her body, tearing her away from everything. This was a hunting ground absolute and chosen. The child launched onto the jungle gym bar, swinging toward the mother, tackling her, eating quickly. Spotting another child, he pounced right away, landing on top. Bodies littered the green, and the only remaining sound was the wet, rhythmic tearing of flesh beneath the trees. A scream cut across the field. The newest corpse rose from the ground, arms rigid, eyes empty. Hunger consumed everything else. The small teddy bear lay face up in the grass, its plastic eyes staring at the empty sky. A long, dark shadow stretched across the toy, while people scattered throughout the park for safety. The zombie child approached the bear, blocking out the sun. He paused above it, then moved on into the silence, seeking his next victim.